reaction to Marques Brownlee's review of the Humane AI Pin. And before we get into that part of it, I just wanted to sort of say that when I first heard about the Humane AI Pin, I was like, yeah, nice try. A Star Trek communicator might look good on TV, but it's really not, in practice that useful. I got what the founders were like. I remember them, there was a video of them presenting it, saying that, they're trying to move beyond the screen and all of that. But there's a reason why a screen is useful, and why it's become so ubiquitous. And unfortunately, the execution of this pin sort of doesn't help the cause in terms of trying to get away from the screen, because it just doesn't have that level of responsiveness that you would expect. And and that sort of neatly dovetails into the review. But just before we get into that, what were your thoughts on the pin when you first heard about it?
Oh, look, I don't want to be negative, but I am. Like you, I just never thought it was going to work. It's a great idea, and one day we'll have the tech for it. But, I think this is one of these things which you pitch it to the right crowd. They get super excited. We're going to get a jump on the market. We're going to be first. We're going to be the next big thing in the tech world. And then you come up with a product that just doesn't even get close. I mean, we're not even talking, like a fold phone, which we wish was a little bit better or more useful, and some people love them. We're talking about something that promises to replace your smartphone and quite simply doesn't.
Yeah, and it's a bit galling when it comes at a $699 US price tag and a 24-month subscription that you have to pay for.
Well, that's it. And let's face it, it's a wearable. So let's look at the next class of wearable, which is the watch. Okay, wear watches. If watches aren't doing it, then I can't see how a pin can. And if they ever get around to getting the pin to do what it's going to do, I reckon the watch will get there first.
Absolutely.
Unless, of course, you're wearing a Lycra jumpsuit.
Well, then the pin might work.
And working on the Enterprise.
Absolutely. So let's just touch on this, the hoo-ha over the review. Now, I watched Marques's review. Obviously, anyone that doesn't know him should know him by now. He's like the top tech YouTuber reviewer guy. He does a lot of good videos. He actually gets criticized for being too positive and not really raking people over the coals more. So then he comes along and he does a review where he does that. And to be honest, I watched the review and he was not, his tone was not sensationalist or harsh or anything like that. He just simply said, look, the vibe was like, I want this to be good, but it just isn't. And then when you have, he literally demonstrates how it doesn't work. So there's no tricky editing or anything like that. He's just got the camera on him and he's using it. And you can see it not working in real time. The best one being when he did effectively a Google search on the pin. He then picked up his phone, did the search. The phone had it for the response in a few seconds. He put his phone down, and then the pin responded 10 seconds after that, or thereabouts. And examples like that, you just can't get around it. Like, he's effectively proving in real time there why he's saying it's not a good product. And of course, there was this whole thing where he then released a subsequent video that people were criticizing him for being so harsh on the pin, and that his words, given his position on YouTube and his ability and reach, that he could send the stock price down for Humane and destroy the company. And he was saying, no, I was only saying what a whole bunch of other people were saying, and effectively a bad product kills a company.
Well, that's absolutely right. And I'm pretty sure that the Humane AI Pin will die by its own death. And if I signed up for a 24-month subscription and got a product that worked like that, I'd be wanting my 24-month subscription refunded and a refund on the pin. So, it is interesting, because this idea that somehow an influencer can kill a product that's rubbish is an interesting notion. I can understand how an influencer can make a product that's rubbish, like in that they endorse it and everyone runs out and gets it, and You know, I can see it working in a positive sense. I can't see it working in a negative sense. And I don't think any blogger, especially, you know, one as even as this guy, should have to even answer any of this. But once again, the internet polarizes. I mean, who would be outraged about a review of a rubbish product?
Yeah, that's right.
Who can, like, you know, it's, to me, that doesn't even seem right anyway.
The funny thing is that this, you know, going full circle, you know, we talked about the Taylor Swift reaction. We're living in this social media, internet goes nuts era. If you wind the clock back 20 years maybe, the Humane AI Pin comes out, say, and the Wall Street Journal does that review. No one would have said anything. They would have just listened to what the Wall Street Journal had to say, or New York Times, or whoever, you know, whatever big publication, you know, is up on that. They're the authority on it. Yeah, and nobody would have said anything. It wouldn't have blown up into, you know, whatever this is. Like, I guess the interesting thing is that, you know, this you get a YouTuber copping flack for just stating like what he thought.
On the internet, everybody's an expert, everyone's outraged, and everyone is the opposite of someone else. And that's that.
And that is that, absolutely. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. Might have to go watch more of his reviews.